Hey guys, if you don't know yet, China and Brazil are striking a deal in order to get rid of the US dollar. Um this is horrible in my opinion. I think that this could have very bad repercussions for the US economy, which is in my opinion not in the best state right now with rising interest rates and the stock market going everywhere. Um this can be another problem for the economy. Um, but like the thing is that China right now is probably top three biggest economies in the world. So if they decide to ditch the dollar, which is used like internationally, um, other countries could start doing the same thing, and in exchange for this new currency that they're trying to work with, they're trying to implement now. There's not that much information about what it's gonna be called or how is it gonna work, but so far we just know that China and Brazil, they're trying to figure out how they're gonna make a new currency such as like the euro, like how the eurozone, like in Europe there's all these countries that got together and they just decided to just keep one currency, instead of having all these currencies from all these different countries. um and that actually helped out the economy because they weren't using, and it didn't really affect the US that much because they weren't using our currency, because those countries, they had their own currencies. So they just simplified everything by unifying and just keeping one thing, the euro, which a lot of you know about. Um, but in this case, it could affect us negatively because if Brazil and China, which they do use the dollar for a lot of things, especially for trading and such, because the dollar holds its value because it's based on the United States, which is one of the best countries. So if we ditch that, if they ditch that, and the US dollar stops, it could have an effect because countries around the world could stop using the US dollar internationally, which will make the dollar lose value, and that could lead to inflation, such as in countries like Venezuela and um, some of the countries in Africa. I can't remember right now. I don't want to just say a random country and I'm not sure, but you guys know, like for example, I know the Mexican peso is, it's not that valuable. Like $1 is like 18 pesos or something like that. Same thing. The Venezuelan is even worse. The Bolivar. And there's other countries like that their currency is just worthless basically. Colombia too. Colombia, they don't have, their currency is like nothing. Like a dollar is so much money. Um, that could happen. I don't think it would happen to the extent that it happened in those countries, because those countries, their dollars don't have value due to the amount that it was printed. They just overdid their printing, and like if you have the power to make money and you just make so much money to pay things off, that money's gonna lose value, and a lot of times that's inflation for you. Um, a lot of times that's the solution to paying off the debt, just printing more money. But this, if you print too much money, that could lower the value of that currency, which will basically be worthless at some, that eventually you try to solve your debts by printing more money, but you will just lose all the value, which is what happened in a lot of these countries. And also it has to do a lot. It has a lot to do with their country's economic state. But as you know, like the United States is definitely not as bad as Venezuela or Colombia or any of those other countries, Mexico. Um, but so yeah, I definitely don't think that if this new currency that China and Brazil are trying to make, I don't think it will affect um our currency as much as the examples that I gave of those like Latin American countries. But it will definitely take a big hit. I mean, maybe not a big hit. Like I'm making it seem out like it's worse than what it's gonna be. Like it could damage the dollar, but I don't think it's gonna be like an insane amount like you see in the news, and maybe you've seen like in other YouTubers talk about it. But yeah, it definitely will take an effect. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal because there's still gonna be countries that will decide to use the dollar instead of the Chinese and Brazilian currency, whatever they come up with. Um, and who knows? Maybe the U.S. will try to make a deal with them or something, and they could get involved in that. And maybe just I was thinking like maybe if they just make one currency for like everything for like every country, and then they just all agree to use that same currency. I don't know what the repercussions of that would be, but like that could be a solution. Like maybe they try to like unite, like how they did with Brexit and stuff, and they try to make their own currency like worldwide, including the United States. That could be good or it could be bad. I'm not very sure. I don't really know that much about like currency and stuff. Um, I know a lot of you guys, like if you trade forex and things like that, you might know like a ton about these things. Tell me like what could happen if we all just come together and like decide to just make one currency? Would that be bad, or would that be a good solution? I'm not really thinking about any problems that could come up from that. I feel like every country will benefit from it. Um, of course, we will have to use. I mean, we already have currency that's in circulation, so maybe that would be the problem. Trying to like get rid of that. Um, and printing like a new currency, and maybe like the differences between each country could potentially cause problems, with that currency and how much it's we make of that currency. I think I mean also it will be like super hard for like all these countries to like come together and decide on like one currency. Um, but I mean maybe it's a perfect solution and it's just like not gonna happen because all these countries they all have differences, or maybe it's just horrible and there's just things that are medium problems that would arise from this. I'm not very sure. Like me personally, with my limited knowledge on this, I think it's a good idea. But I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far into it. If you guys know, please let me know how would that work. But yeah, that's most likely like I'm like 99% sure that that's not gonna be like a worldwide currency. Just throwing out like a solution out there for all this because I see it happening. Like I see it with Brexit now, China and Brazil and a couple other countries. I can't remember which ones they are, so I don't wanna give you guys the wrong information. But China, Brazil, and a couple other countries are gonna make the currency, just like Brexit did in Europe. And I'm saying like the dollar is just left behind. Everyone's making their own currency. It's gonna like be backed up by like all these countries, which are not as great as the United States, but all together, could have more value. I'm sorry guys, I was getting a call and the video got interrupted. Hopefully that didn't cut out too much of what I said. But just in case, I was just saying that this idea that I have of making all these currencies, all these countries come back, get together, and just make one currency. I was just saying that I don't think it will have too many repercussions. I just thinking that it will be like too much work, and you know, everyone has differences, so it will probably be impossible. Like 99, I'm like 99% sure something like this will not happen. But also at the same time, I'm not like 100% sure if this could have repercussions. So like I was just saying, um, to give me like some feedback on that situation. Um, I'm sorry if I sound redundant. I might have that part of me saying this might have already been left out in the video, but I'm not sure because it got cut out because of the call. I'm not sure where it got cut out. But yeah, regardless of that, sorry for the technical difficulties. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.